Bonjour you lot, how's it going? Hope you're all fine and dandy. This is my HPI Savage SS, a lovely truck. A few weeks ago I took it out to do a video on how I tune that engine and this truck because it was requested. However, during that, at the end of that, at some point, a bit of an issue happened. Now there's something mysterious going on with this truck, and we're going to have a look to see if I can find out what the problem is, and is it even a problem? I don't know. Ever since day one, I'll give you a little bit of a recap. Ever since day one, when I put this engine in here, it's been massively powerful, and it's been brilliant, and it's run really well. But I've always thought that there was an issue with the clutch or something. Now, some people have said about the slipper clutch, and I've always done it anyway. I learnt that lesson when I was a kid more than 20 years ago. The slipper clutch is on here, and this bolt here with a spring on it, well, it's actually a nut with a spring on it. That's the idea of the slipper clutch. So you loosen that nut off, and it allows this clutch in here to slip. I don't know what. I know what the purpose is. You can adjust your acceleration, you can adjust all kinds of things, and it protects your diffs and your gearbox and everything. Takes a lot of the strain and stress out of accelerations. I ain't bothered about none of that. So I always just do that nut up as tight as I can get it to go. That means this slipper clutch ain't a clutch no more. That clutch bell is directly linked through to this spur, which is directly linked to the center diff, which is directly linked to the rest of it. I don't bother with the slipper clutch, all right, and that is as tight as I can get that nut to go. But it's always been a bit, it hasn't really had the punch that I thought it should have, And all of a sudden, well, actually, at the time before I ran it, something happened, and I thought that it was the engine that temporarily seized up, or something happened. I weren't really sure what happened. And then I thought to myself, no, it was something to do with that clutch. Something's jammed up in the clutch, which then jammed up the engine, because it worked fine. But then at the end of that video, there's footage in the end of the video. Have a look back if you want and see. It's called How I Tune HPI Savage Nitro Monster Trucks. At the end of that, I put the footage in when I was just driving around for fun, and all of a sudden it jammed up. The engine was fine, but the truck itself, something jammed up, and when I revved the engine, it was struggling, really struggling the engine, labouring it, and it wouldn't move. And I walked over and I kicked it, and then it started to go. And after that, it was the best it's ever been. And I mean, literally, it had so much power, and that was how it should be. And I thought to myself, something has happened. Now, I'm not entirely sure whether it's something to do with the actual clutch, which is on the end of the engine, in the clutch bell. I've got a Reds Racing 4-shoe clutch in there. Maybe I put it together wrong when I put it on, because I put it all together, put the engine together with the clutch and everything. Maybe I did something wrong, and all of a sudden something's popped out, the springs popped out, something's happened, and now it's working properly. I don't know. But then it seemed to have so much power that it stripped this plastic spur. I thought that plastic spur was going to strip on the very first run, but it's lasted about 6 months and it finally stripped. So I need to get a hardened one. I knew I was going to have to do that anyway. You don't have to give me a bollocking in the comments. I knew I was going to have to do it, but I just didn't at the time, and I thought I'll let that one last as long as it's going to last, and when that one dies, I'll get a new one. It's died. Anyway, I just want to take the engine out and inspect the clutch and everything to make sure everything is okay. And then I'll just get I'll have to order up a hardened spur. I know Mr. Woogie Nitro recommended the Robinsons Racing one. Don't know whether I can get them in England. They might be an American thing. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. But I'll look into that and I'll get myself a hardened spur gear. And then we'll run it again and see what happens. But all this video is going to be is we're just going to take the engine out and have a look to see if anything's wrong. Everything seems to move and roll all right. Even the old spur's still going around, look. It's still gripping slightly. Anyway, let's get the engine out and have a little look, shall we? So I've already loosened them off. Instead of messing around with the whole engine mount and everything, I've decided to do it a way that I don't normally do it. I don't normally take the engines out this way, and I'm going to take the engine off the mount. I'll find out whether it's a better way or not a better way. I normally fanny around and go underneath and undo the big bolts and take the mount out as well, so the engine's still on the mount, if you know what I mean. But I've decided to do it this way this time, and we'll just see if it's going to be any different. It might be, it might not be. It might be easier, it might be not easier. I'll tell you that in a minute once I've got it out. What I've got to do is undo these last two bolts and then take the exhaust off, and then we should be able to take it out. Let's see what happens. This one. Oh, it's underneath. Of course it's underneath. Everything's underneath. Right, so let's just undo that, take that off. The nitro tank is down there because it's just where I put it. And that one should come out. Happy days. Oh no, there it is. Are we still connected? Well, we're still connected to the exhaust. Of course we are. Of course we are. Right, that's off. Righto, let's get rid of that. Put that engine down there. Put that truck down there. Let's take out that bolt. Like that. Right. Johnny boy. Let's have a look at this clutch. This is we were zooming. We got the lights on. We have got the lights on. Why does it seem so dark? This clutch. This is a Answer RC Bell. Oh, it's an Answer clutch as well. I thought it was Reds. I couldn't remember what I bought now. It's an Answer 4-shoe clutch, and it's an Answer Bell. All seems to be all right there. Let's just inspect the actual clutch and the shoes themselves, just to make sure everything's alright and nothing's gone dicky. Are you zoomed out enough or zoomed out? I don't know where you are, to be honest. Anyway, there's the bolt. Right, okay. All the springs, everything seems to be in place. They are a little bit worn in a strange way there, aren't they? That's odd. But the springs are all in place. Which is good. The springs themselves, you can't even see none of that, can you? Is that even focusing? I'm sorry, the screen on the camera is no good. I can't see what you're looking at. I'm just assuming. I can see a blur. Now, to me, they are worn a bit. I don't know why they're that worn. Interesting. Maybe I could move them over to that one, all of them. If I move them over to that one, would that make them tighter or looser? I'm tempted to leave it as it is because it started working fine, didn't it? It was working crap and then it started working good. So I'm tempted just to leave it as it is. But I am a bit perplexed at why they're worn in such a strange way. Don't know whether that is even showing. If you're focusing, I'm hoping this is focusing for you, because it's going to be a bit of a disaster if it isn't focusing. But look, they've got weird. I don't normally get that on any of my clutches. You lot might be like, that's normal, but normally they wear flat, they wear even. But look, there's like lumps of metal there. You know, that's worn nicely there. That's a bit lumpy. Don't know why that is. The inside of the bell is fine. You know, that seems fine to me. Can't see any issues there at all. Strange. You can't buy these anymore. You can't buy them clutches anymore. Come on. You can't buy these bells anymore. 14 tooth. If you go on the Answer website, they're out of stock all the time. And I asked them, and it's because their manufacturer, the people who make them in China, ran away. They're not there anymore. Which is a shame, because this Answer stuff is really good stuff. I can't remember if they're Answer shoes or not, though. Clutch shoes. Did I already have these? I can't remember. There might be some of you that watched me put this together and you can remember whether these shoes come with the... I can't remember. They must have done. They must have done. I have got a bag somewhere of clutch shoes. But there's only 3 of them. I haven't got any 4-shoe clutches. So these shoes must have come with this clutch. It must have been a kit. I can't remember. Anyway, that seems to be working fine. So let's put that back on there. Them bearings are fine. Do you know, an interesting fact? I've got a K4.6 in the other Savage. And for the best part of, it must have been 5 or 6 years, right? I never check it. I don't care. There was no bearings in the clutch bell, inside or outside. They'd fallen apart. You know, they'd vanished. They'd just fallen to bits and gone. And yeah, for years I knew that it was a bit wobbly. The bell was a bit rattly and a bit wobbly, but I don't care. You know what I mean? Just fire it up and go. That's my philosophy. There's nothing wrong with this clutch, and there's nothing wrong with this engine either. There's nothing wrong with this whatsoever. This is actually a lovely little engine, do you know what I mean? They're a very nice engine, these LRPs 32s. A very, very nice engine. I've got 2 of them actually. One's on on a buggy. But anyway, where was I? I forgot what I was talking about now. There's a bit of movement there, a bit of play, but probably could do with a bit of shimming. Probably could do with a bit of shimming, I suppose. Let me just see if I've got any washers that can go on there to stop that moving up and down quite so much. If I haven't, I haven't. But let me just have a little look. So I'm just having a look around in my thing here. Let's see if this might be alright. Oh no, it's far too big. It's not going to fit. I'm only joking. I know some of you lot are probably going to be thinking, what on earth? What's going on here? No. I'm only joking. Right, that's a brake disc anyway. Oh look, we've got some engine shims. Engine shims? Head shims. I just need a little washer. I'm gonna have to tip this out, aren't I? I don't want to tip it out. Don't make me tip it out. Please don't make me tip it out. I don't want to tip it out. Oh, I'm gonna have to tip it out. Clutch shoes. Look. You just need little washers. Just a couple of little thin washers. Ah, what's that one? This one might do the trick. Ooh. That's it, Johnny boy. Got it up too bloody tight now. Let's just see. I might need a couple of these though. At least, you know, it will just stop that bell flapping in and out a lot. You know? Bells like to flap in and out. I mean, a lot of the time it's good for a bell to flap in and out. But in this case, we don't want this bell flapping in and out. You know? So. Right. Ah, yes. Oh no, still got like one more of them. If I can find one more of them little washers, we'll be laughing. Got C-clips. I've got all sorts here. You can't even see really, can you? I've got loads. C-clips and collets. I've got collets, look. Oh my giddy aunt. Here we go. Righto, Johnny. Oh, look. Oh, that's one of them. That's exactly the same. That one there, right in the corner. You can't see it. That one there, that's exactly the same as the one I've just put on it. So, I reckon, if I put two of these on, this will be perfect. There won't be any flapping around, right? I'm going to put that on the bolt. Alright. But you don't want it to be too tight, because then it will make it so that the bell can't turn freely. So you need it to be just right. Yes. Now there's no movement in and out at all. Right, that is solid, but spins freely. I don't think it was affecting it. I don't think there's anything wrong with this clutch and bell setup at all. I think the issue was somewhere else. Anyway, let me tidy this mess up and then we'll get back to it. Right, so here's the engine then. I haven't got anything to clean it with. I've run out of kitchen paper and stuff. But I'm not going to put this engine back in yet anyway, because I've got to change the spur gear. So this engine's going to be out for a few weeks probably. I can't afford to buy a spur gear at the moment. I know that sounds odd and strange to some of you lot, but you know, times are hard at the minute. But I can't see anything. I mean, that crank, you know, that crank's solid. Some of you were saying that the reason it is playing up could be because there's play on the crank. There's nothing there, man. Nothing. It's mint. Absolutely mint. So, there's no cracks that I can see. Yeah. I don't know what was causing it. And do I care? The answer is no. So, anyway. Let's put that engine over there for the moment. Let's get the actual whole truck itself back up on this bench. And we'll have a look at that spur. Right, so here we go. Now, this is what I'm talking about. Alright, now this nut here, that tightens up and there's a spring there. I'm going to take it off in a minute so you can see. There's a spring there. And that tightens, it pushes this spur gear on the clutch. There's like a clutch plate thing, clutch material. And the idea of it is that this is a bit looser. This spur then can spin on the clutch, just like your clutch in your car, or even a centrifugal clutch. It's a bit like a clutch in your car, I suppose. it lets it spin a bit, and then it eventually grips, and it just makes your acceleration a bit slower. It might save a lot of the strain and stress on your diffs and things, but I'm not that bothered about that. I've always had them rock solid. I've always done them up as tight as I can get them. I don't know if that's a bit of an issue, to be honest, but everything seems to be alright. I can't see any reason. You know, I don't know what the problem could have been, but whatever it was, it appears to have remedied itself. I think I might take the opportunity. The thing is, I need to buy. I replaced the front diff with. What did I replace the front diff with? I've forgotten already. I replaced the front diff with a 4 bevel Jimny thing. 4 bevel gears. That's it. Oh, bloody hell. Let me get a better pair, guys. Right, don't even know what I'm talking about. Right, I replaced it with 4 bevels on the front diff, so we've got upgraded diff on the front. Now, I do need to do that for the rear diff, the back diff really. Jesus, that's tight, man. I did that up tight when I did that up. Bloody hell. I did that tight. I've got to get that off somehow. I'm going to have to go and get a ratchet on that, I think. Let me get a little ratchet out. Right, let's see if we can do a bit better with a ratchet on it. I replaced the front one. I should do the back one really, and I should probably have a look at the centre diff as well. But at the moment, you know, I can't. I just can't. You know, I mean, they're a lot of money, so I'm just gonna have to just keep running it. Right now, we've got this loose. Now this spur, now you can see that's how that works. That spur is now spinning, but the diff, the centre diff, isn't, because I've loosened it. Let's loosen it all the way and take it apart, and I'll show you what's on the inside. So all this comprises of is a nut, a spring, which keeps the nut tight, as well as push down on it, and then you take this off. You got a washer, which has got a hexagon on the inside of it to grip, and then we've got a clutch plate on the inside of there. Now I'm wondering whether that wasn't really gripping very well, even though it was as tight as I could get it. This might have had oil on it. Anything could have happened. I mean, I didn't put this on. That spur was on there when I bought this truck. So I didn't do any of this. This was already on there. It might pay me to put a new one of these on as well. This is like this is effectively the flywheel, because in your car you've got a flywheel and your clutch plate attaches to that and makes it spin. It's the same sort of thing. Maybe this has a bit of oil on it. I mean, it feels fine, but maybe this wasn't really gripping, and all of a sudden, for some reason, it decided to grip on that day. The oil might have burnt off or something happened. It just decided to grip. It's a little bit chewed up in there. It's just a little bit. Well, it's not worn out, is it? There's loads of material left on there, loads of meat on it, but don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter, because I'm going to get a new spur, so it'll have a new clutch plate on it anyway. What teeth is this? Can't read it. 47. I've got these 2 plastic ones here. Look, that's what it should look like, and you can get ones that look like that as well. And that's that one. So we could argue, I suppose, that this one is definitely. We could argue it's worn out now. Whether it's worn out before, I don't know. But we could argue that it's worn out now. That's a new one compared to the old one. But these spurs, that's a 47 tooth. So that one would potentially fit. And that's also a 47 tooth. So that one would potentially fit. But I'm not going to put another plastic one on there. In fact, these are exactly the same. They're identical, they are. They're exactly the same. But I'm not going to put another plastic one on. I'm just going to go and get a hardened steel one. Probably try and see if I can order a Robinson's Racing one, because Mr. Wilgie Nitro recommended it months and months ago. And I said I'll wait until this one dies. Anyway, so that's what we got. So I'm going to leave them off for now. I'll leave this off. That is a bit, you know, it does move around a lot in there, but I can't do anything about it now. I mean, I'm just going to have to wait. If it dies, I'll have to take it apart and repair it when it dies. At the moment, I'm not in a position to be taking stuff apart and buying new bits for stuff willy-nilly. So, without it needing it. So, let's put that spring back on there so I don't lose that. And in fact, let's put that little washer back on there as well so I don't lose that. That goes on there, and then that spring goes on there, and then that nut goes on the end. Little nylock nut. There we go. So I'm going to keep that off because I didn't put it on. I'll see how much them Robinson spurs are. Might better manage it in 1 or 2 weeks' time. We'll see what happens. So yeah, but I think what I'll do is I'll probably give the rest of this, while I've got it apart, I'll probably give it all a bit of a blowout with the air gun at some point, and give it all a little bit of a spruce up. But I'll tell you what, this truck is bloody brilliant. Oh, by the way, just a completely unrelated topic, completely unrelated. If any of you lot have got any old 35mm film for cameras, analog cameras, you know, film cameras, that's sitting in the cupboard and it's still in its roll, still in the packet, you know, I can actually use it. Let me know if you don't want it, because I'll buy it off you. Because a bit of a hobby that I do with my kids, and the missus sometimes is a bit hit and miss with it. She likes photography, but she can't be bothered to get them developed. She likes digital, so we do digital as well. But photography, you know, trouble is film these days is far too expensive. You're looking at 30 quid for one roll. It's just unbelievable. So, you know, but I know some people have it in drawers. They had it from years ago, and if it's still sealed up and the thing is perfectly fine, I'll buy it off you. So if you've got any film or Polaroid 600 film, new, you know, like cartridges that are new that I can use, I'll buy them off you as well, because they're also expensive, and we like to do the old Polaroid photography, but we just can't do it anymore. I know a lot of people think, oh, just go digital because it's free. You know, once you've got a digital camera, it's free, take as many pictures as you want. But we like to do a bit of old school stuff, you know, it's just fun for the kids, it's nice, you know, and you get them developed, they come back and they're excited about that kind of stuff. Digital, there's no excitement to it. Anyway, just thought I'd put that out there. If you've got any film, 35mm or Polaroid 600 film, and you want to sell it and it's still good, let me know, I'll buy it off you. It's hard at the moment, you know, it is difficult at the moment, because everything's so expensive. But you don't want to like let life stop, you know. Why should the kids suffer because of the way everything is, you know, with bills and everything being doubly expensive and all that? Why should the kids suffer? So I try my best to make sure that the kids' lives carry on, you know, like they don't feel it as much. So that's why I'm still trying to keep doing the hobbies that me and the kids do together. Can't really afford to be doing hobbies, but I keep trying to, don't want to let them suffer, do you know what I mean? It's not their fault, you know. Kids, they shouldn't have any care in the world, they shouldn't go without, so I'll do my best to make sure they don't. So that's why we're still doing hobbies, you know. People say, wait, stop doing hobbies, but the kids, man, they need to have a carefree life. That's part of being a kid, you know. When you turn 18, that's when you start feeling all your things that happen when you're an adult, and as you go up, then you can be a little bit less carefree because you've got more responsibility. But when you're a kid, your life shouldn't suffer, and a parent's job is to make sure that the kids' lives don't suffer. So we're going to stick trying to do as many hobbies as we normally do. It's just bloody difficult, you know, when things are so expensive, but it's just the way life is at the moment, and we love it, don't we, eh? Kind of. Right, I was going to go indoors now, but while I'm here, I remembered randomly. Somebody asked me why I've got hair bands on most of my engines. Particularly this one, someone noticed it on. Well, in my head, it's happened once or twice, and luckily I've never had a serious runaway from it. But with these slidey well, all the carburetors, but these ones are easier to do. What can happen is, you've got your little linkage, haven't you, which is just a little pop-on ball joint there, and it pops on there, and you know, when they get, they're right when they're new, but if they get worn, like if you take them on and off, you take the engine out quite often, so these come on and off, you know, they can get a bit worn, but even new ones can pop off now and again. I'm just going to sneeze. Blimey, kicked up a bit of dust, now I'm sneezing a lot. Anyway, so they can pop off. And obviously what happens is if the throttle linkage pops off, your engine is to its own. Any amount of fail-safe on your radio gear is not going to stop your engine because the throttle is no longer connected. And if you don't have your little hairband on there, I'm trying to do it without it pinging off. It's going to ping off anyway, probably. But look, see that throttle, it don't go all the way in, see, it comes back out by itself. Now, sometimes, and you know, a lot of the time, but not all of them, it doesn't always happen, is the suction of the engine running will suck that in closed and it will just be on tick over. But that doesn't always happen. And sometimes that will pop off. If it pops off, say if you do full throttle and all of a sudden that throttle linkage goes pop, and that's stuck on, that will stay out on full throttle sometimes, and you'll be buzzing around and you'll be putting the brakes on and the engine will be fighting the brakes, because your brakes will work, but if your brakes aren't that good, or if your engine can overpower the brakes, it ain't going to be a good story. So all I've done now for years and years is either an elastic band, or I just, because my daughter, she throws hairbands away like no tomorrow. You know, if they've got a little bit of dirt on them or something, she'll throw them out, but I don't want that one, you know, or she'll snap them, and all I do is just, if they're snapped, I just tie them together, like it's got a little knot on it there, and I use it. See, hairbands are fine. You might even be able to buy an actual RC elastic thing that some RC company probably sells, but it's going to be an extortionate amount of money when you can just use a hairband. You know, even if you don't have a kid or missus or anything like that, just go and buy yourself a pack of hairbands for about £1 from Claire's or some other place that sells accessories for women. You know, you can use elastic bands, anything elastic, and it just, well, this one's lost its elasticity. To be honest, it doesn't ping back as well as it did before, so I do need to replace it. But all it does, if that pops off, it forces it shut and it stays on tick over there, and it just prevents your car from running away, basically. Simple as that. But like I say, this one's lost its elasticity. It's been on there for ages. Anyway, yeah, someone asked about that. Why have you got hairbands stuck around your carburetor? Well, that's what it's for, you know, because your fail-safe will work as long as your throttle is connected to the engine. If your throttle's not connected, a fail-safe is useless, because the throttle will be going that way, but your engine will still be flat out if your throttle's stuck open on your carburetor. So it's like an extra fail-safe, really, basically. So, you know, I dare say I'm not the only one that's ever thought about that. There must be other people that have had the thing that pop off and gone, oh bloody hell, I need a bit of elastic. You know, I can't be the only one that's ever thought about it, but there we go. Anyway, you lot, look at them fins. I like it. I like that. I like a little bit of damage. You know what I mean? It's a story to tell, isn't it? You know, it's a story. Some people panic. They're like, oh, you can paint the fins, you can touch that up, you know, make it look new again. I like it. I'll leave it like that. I don't want it to be painted. I don't want it to be touched up, you know. It looks better with a bit of character, with battle scars, rather than being all fancy and new all the time, you know. I like that kind of stuff, but there we go. Anyway, you lot, I'm out of here. We had a little inspection, and I don't know about you lot. I dare say you're going to... Well, please do put your opinion in the comments. I'd always encourage, you know, constructive criticism. It's always handy, and I'm always open to it. But I think there's nothing wrong with this clutch. It's a bit strange how it's worn, to be honest, little blobs here and there, but you know, the springs don't appear to be touching the bell, and everything seems to be alright. So I don't think there's anything wrong with this clutch. I think it's fine, and I think I've made it even better by putting a couple of washers there to stop it moving up and down. And as far as the engine goes, I think this is fine. I don't see anything wrong with it, unless we've got an internal problem where a bearing comes out of place now and again or something which locks it up. I think it's fine. I can't explain why it was doing what it was doing. One thing I have noticed though, it looks like the outer edge of the flywheel there has been rubbing on something. I don't remember. It looks like it's been rubbing anyway, so I don't know what that's been rubbing on, because it's not even. It's thicker on this side than it is on that side, so I don't know what that's all about. Maybe the engine moves slightly and the flywheel rubs up against something. I'll have to go and check on the frame to see if there's rubbing marks anywhere and it jams it. I don't know. Anyway, I can't see anything wrong, so as I've said many times, I'm just repeating myself now pointlessly, but gonna get a new spur. Also come with new clutch material. There we go. Happy days. I'll see you in a few weeks or a few days or whenever I can get that done, and we'll put it all back together and we'll go out and we'll run it and we'll see if there's a difference, and we'll see. Fingers crossed there will be a difference. Fingers crossed it'll work how it's supposed to work, how it was working towards the end before that strip. Anyway, cheerio you lot. Treat everyone equally, love life, you know, don't get too bogged down in too many serious things, because you only get one life, so try your best to just enjoy it, and I'll see you later on. All the best you lot, take care.